This episode is brought to you by Temptations Cat Treats. Your cat will come running for the perfectly irresistible Temptations Creamy Puree and Temptations Lickable Spoon Cat Treats. The best time to feed lickable cat treats to your cat is anytime. Feed by hand for a playful moment, in a bowl for a creamy treat, or as a topper to make mealtime fun. Visit temptationstreats.com to learn more.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Funny thing, you know what's missing from the contract?
Are you saying
his, down. The
his
thing
signature?
that makes it a contract. That's what's missing, his signature.
This is the plaintiff, Aisha McNeil. She says the defendant was like a brother to her, and she's finding it so hard to have to sue him. But hey, he owes her a lot of money. She bought an iPhone 6 for him. He promised he'd pay her back, but hasn't. Bottom line, he still has the phone. She reported it as stolen to the cops who told her to sue. And here they are. She's suing for $1,439, the amount owed. This is the defendant, Darren Thomas. He says he and the plaintiff were friends, and he helped her out by paying her bills, paying for dinners, drinks, you name it. One day she gives him an iPhone 6 as a present, then turns around and tells the cops he stole it from her, and sues him in court. She also defamed his character and caused him to lose business, and if anyone is owed money at the end of the day, it's him. He's accused of not phoning it in. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $5,000 for pain and suffering and loss of income.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
What you are about to witness is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in civil court. Both parties have agreed to drop their claims and have their cases settled here before Judge Marilyn Millian in our forum, the People's Court.
Be seated. Come to order, please. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Aisha McNeil, you are suing Darren Thomas for $1,439 that you say he owes you for a phone that you bought in your name for him and he has not returned nor paid for. You have a counterclaim against her for $5,000 in pain and suffering and defamation. Okay, what's going on?
So Darren and I met about a year ago through a mutual friend. Someone who he was dating was a work colleague of mine, and we became very good friends. Unfortunately, that relationship ended between my girlfriend and him, but our friendship continued because we were just...
Were you two ever romantic?
Never.
Okay.
Just friends.
Okay.
And we got so close that we became like brothers and sisters. In fact, we even refer to each other. We tell everybody that we're God brothers and God sisters because that's how close of a bond that we had. So there became a point where we both was discussing that we had some issues with our phone. So I said I was gonna go to Sprint, to see if I could get an upgrade. With that being said, he said, I need to upgrade my phone too. So he said, I have good cash, but I have bad credit. He asked me, can I help him by adding him to my line? So I thought about it, and I said, I don't feel comfortable with adding you to my line because I don't want to get, screwed.
Stuck with a bill?
Right.
Yeah.
So I said, if I do this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a contract. So in the event that this happens and you don't pay the bill, I'm going to sue you. Yes.
Let me see the contract.
And this is the receipt for the purchase.
Just the contract. Let me see the contract. Funny thing, you know what's missing from the contract?
Are you
Put your
saying
hand
his,
down. The
his
thing
signature?
that makes it a contract. That's what's missing, his signature. So no, that doesn't constitute a written contract that helps you to sue later. It's a problem. So if he's got the cash, I got good cash but bad credit, then he buys his own phone.
Well, what he did was he gave me $100 as a down payment in good faith when we first started out with this. A month later, which was in June, because we started this contract on May 19th, he had a problem with paying the phone. So I immediately disconnected it. And I told him, I said, Darren, I told you if you don't pay this bill, I'm going to disconnect it. So he paid the bill, but he paid the bill about 10 days later.
How did he pay the bill? Gave you money, went to the store?
No, he never gave me money. He went to the store, he made the payment. So I reactivated the line, because what I did was put the phone on standby until the bill got paid. So once we were in agreement, I felt comfortable with reactivating the phone. Now, a month later, the same thing happened again.
There's a surprise.
So immediately, I disconnected the phone again. And this time, I wasn't taking no compromising as an answer. I said, no, that's it, we're done, it's over with. I'm moving on, and I'm not reactivating this phone. I said, but
now, it actually got a little nasty between you two.
Absolutely.
Right. Because you felt taken advantage of.
Absolutely. Well, here's
all right, tell me what's going on.
Hello, Your Honor. How are you doing? First of all, at no point was my credit bad enough not to have a phone. I have an account with T-Mobile.
Did you think that she was buying you the phone?
No, I knew she wasn't buying me the phone.
You knew you had to pay it.
I knew I had to pay. It was completely clear.
Okay, but then what happened? Because she says you didn't pay it.
This is what happened. She had a problem with something. I don't know what happened. I think me and my wife reconciled, and our friendship broke down. We didn't hang out as much as we did because now me and my wife are reconciling.
And you're no longer dating her friend.
Me and her
Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
And me and her don't have much personal brother-sister time anymore either. So going to dinner, hanging out at lunch, me being a good gentleman, buying dinner and drinks and stuff, we can't do that anymore. So now we're not in close anymore. So now she cut my phone off because she said, I see this is going to be a problem with you because I asked her for the difference because the bill was only $150, I paid $200. She said, Darren, I just
Wait, what are you asking her for if you had already paid $200?
My bill is only $150.
Oh, so why did you pay $200?
Because the bill was $183. And I realized if the bill's $183, it's late. She's late too. So I'm saying, well, let me make sure it's current. So
Hold on.
I said, let me make sure it's current.
How much were you supposed to pay?
I was supposed to pay $125.
So you paid the whole $183?
Yes, ma'am,
And then you asked her for the difference between the $183 and the $125?
Yes, ma'am, and that came a problem. At that point, she disconnected. She said, it's going to be a problem with this phone. I'm cutting it off. I said, Asia, do what you want, sis. And I got all the emails.
And then what happened?
She sent me a text message on the 17th the following month. Like,
when is the bill due? It comes due what day?
On the 29th or 25th.
Okay.
Well, first of all, let me
see the bills, and then.
No, first of all, Your Honor, the bill.
What is she? Okay, what happens the second month when she disconnects the phone?
She sends me a text on the 21st. I said, listen, I'm at work at school. Send me the PIN number or whatever it's required so I can pay over the phone because I'm at work right now.
What is it you need to be able to pay a bill?
You need access to a person's cell phone. Nowadays, you need the PIN number or the billing zip code, PIN number and billing zip code or your passcode.
You don't have bills?
I didn't bring the bills. I just brought the payments that was made.
I need to know what the payments were for. They can't be part of your bill, so I need to see the bills. How do you not bring the bills you're suing on to court? You're suing for $1,400. A bunch of it is bills. You know, how do you not bring those bills? You have them but didn't bring them? Go ahead. In the end, what was the reason she cut it off the last time? What did she say it was?
She tried to say, you're stupid. I'm not stupid. I'm not giving you the passcode or the PIN number to pay the bill, which you need.
You could always go to the store and pay it, right?
At the store, they have it. Yes, you can.
Do you have the phone right now?
No.
Where's the phone?
At my house.
And so if you have the phone, and you know that you owe her the cost of the phone because she's getting charged for it, why would you not surrender the phone to her?
Your Honor, one reason. I never breached the contract. I told her I got paid on a Thursday. I said, listen, I just got this check for $2,000. I'll have that bill paid Friday or Saturday. Don't worry about it. She cut my phone off on a Sunday. She didn't give me an opportunity to.
What happened to Friday or Saturday?
Saturday morning, the bank was closed.
Why is this so complicated?
I tried.
Why didn't you see? This is why he can't. That's why he doesn't have credit to get a $775 phone.
No, I got credit, Miss.
Then why didn't you get your own phone? Why'd you have to mess it up on her line?
I didn't mess it up.
Why did you?
I got an account with.
Stop. There's no high math or science going on here. You've got a phone. You didn't bring it to court because you probably watched People's Court and you know I was going to make you hand it over. So you have the new Mac Daddy phone and you paid for it. How?
I paid $139.
$100.
I paid $100 deposit.
And
I paid a $189 phone bill. $183 phone bill. That's why I was still on.
Did you pay the other month?
It wasn't due yet.
Okay. You do know that $749 is the cost of the phone, right?
Your Honor.
And you do know that these three sums do not approach $749.
Your Honor.
Yes or no? Do you know?
Yes, I understand.
Okay, so you didn't pay for the phone then, right?
No, I didn't, Your Honor.
And you didn't hand her back the phone that you didn't pay for. You just left it on her bill.
No, I did, Your Honor. I never breached the contract.
Now, I want the phone bills so that I can compare the text to. Well, honey, I don't know how you're going to make. You have to prove to me that something went wrong and he was late. So I need to know the due date and I need to know when you canceled it. All right? That's what I need to know. We're going to take a recess and you'll have access to your account on a computer or something and you can try to figure it out. Okay. Court's in recess.
All rise.
Okay. We have the phone bills now and I would like to go over them. First of all, I understand the $749 that you're suing for. That's the cost of the phone. But when I look at the June phone bill, shouldn't I see that as an installment charge, just like it is for your phone? Why does it say lease, $25?
Because the $25 is what's going to be broken down extra on my bill for the equipment.
And then is it correct that he's supposed to pay $125 a month?
Yes.
All right. Is everybody on the same page that he's supposed to pay $125? That's according to you and according to her. All right, so $125 is what he's supposed to pay. According to you, you pay $139 at the store. Is that accurate?
Absolutely not.
How did you pay it?
At the store.
Right, so you would have proof of that.
She gave me the credentials to pay it at the store. I paid it before she bought the phone the next morning.
It's fine. She's denying that you paid that. I just need you to prove it.
She's not denying the $100 balance, the $100 deposit, Your Honor, because the Sprint would not have given her the phone without the deposit.
Okay, hold on.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, did he pay $100?
He paid $100 as a deposit for his phone.
Did he give Sprint $139?
No.
Okay, so if you don't have any proof that you paid the $139, you're not getting credit for that. What is this replacement phone that you're suing for?
Well, he wouldn't return my phone, so being that I have to continue to pay the bill.
Why do you have to continue to pay the bill? Why can't you just cancel one of the many lines on your voice shared plan?
Because I have a 2-year contract. That's what the lease is for. So I have to continue to pay the bill regardless whether I'm using it or not. Being that he refused to give it back to me, he's stating that he doesn't have my phone in his possession. I had to pay $200 to get a second line, which I then gave to my small child.
Your Honor, I had to eat the text messages. I told her in the text message, you cut my phone off 2 days after I paid it. I gave you all the evidence of those text messages. They're on her phone as well. She cut my phone off twice within 30 days of me having it. It didn't go 3 months, Your Honor.
Okay. I need to see the text, the dates of the texts that show me when the phone was disconnected.
It was disconnected the 26th of last
month. I can show you the email.
Yeah, of what date?
I got a screenshot of the text.
26th of what month?
This is the 27th of July.
Monday, July 27th, you send her an email, because I assume you realize right away your phone is cut. So you send her an email and you say to her, why are you doing this? I need my phone for business, sis. Go on now and please reconnect. I will pay my bill before the 29th, okay? I'm waiting for a check to clear. The bill date is the 25th, but I assume that if that's the bill date, that's not necessarily the due date, okay? Then why are you canceling the phone on the 27th?
Because he never paid the bill. And
But when was the bill due? It wasn't due on the 27th when you canceled.
Right.
Listen, here's the problem, okay? He's not crazy. When he says that I didn't breach a contract, you know, there's a problem with that.
Well, I asked him to return the phone.
I know all that. I don't need you to repeat that. I know all that. What I needed was to figure out the timing sequence of things. So that I understand your lawsuit, the $250 is to be able to have a phone for your son, to be able to use the line. And the $300 phone bill, or $100 a month for July, August, and September, you canceled it July. Why is he going to pay July, August, and September?
Because my son wouldn't have had access to a phone if he had just paid this bill. I had no reason to give my son a phone.
Now, you have a counterclaim against her for $5,000, $2,500 for pain and suffering, and $2,500 for defamation of character and loss of business. Tell me about that.
She called an associate of ours I was in the process of doing business with and told him I had parking tickets I didn't pay. She told him I didn't have credit cards. She told him...
Who's this?
First of all, he's my ex-boyfriend. Okay. And he's somebody who is in a close relationship with me. So... I had introduced him because he
What kind of business deal were they doing?
Because he was saying that he makes music.
Okay.
And this guy who
So you told your ex-boyfriend, don't trust him.
I had a conversation with him that I felt uncomfortable with the way he treated me and the fact that I had.
Why does that entitle you to $2,500?
I'm entitled to feel sad.
Or $5,000. Why does stop it? Why does that entitle you to $5,000?
Welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. So, you have a best friend who has bad credit, and they say, would you sign up and get a phone for me? Would you ever do it?
I'm gonna have to say no because I'm a broke college student, but maybe in the future when I have a really, really good friend.
You'll be a rich sucker.
I guess.
Gotcha. What do you say?
Kind of same answer, but I would love to help a friend out, but it sounds like it might be a bad idea.
Might be a bad idea. What do you think?
It's a very bad idea.
Why is it such a terrible idea?
Because it would be too much money.
Well, we'll get into that in a minute. Going inside the courtroom.
How are you going to prove to me that you lost $5,000? That's what entitles you to $5,000.
Well, I'm talking, Your Honor, I agree with you. The pain and suffering she put me through and stressed me out over this whole deal when I never breached the contract. And when we were physically on the phone, I never told her to go herself. I don't use that language with ladies. I was in New York walking down the street on the phone. Someone bumped me. I said, you jerk. He said something back. I said, go yourself. I said, yeah. And she on the phone. So she assumed I sent it to her. This is New York City. You know what I'm saying, Your Honor? So I'm saying to myself, that's New York language, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So what I'm saying,
it's
Your
like
Honor,
subtitles, you know?
Your Honor, then me and my wife decided to reconcile. We didn't have all the times we spent together anymore, and she added extra stress in my marriage.
Okay, I need everybody to stop talking right now.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Was the breakup between him and your friend when he reconciled with his wife unexpected?
That's not why they broke up. He was always with his wife, and he was seeing my girlfriend at the same time.
Oh, did your girlfriend know that or not?
No.
No, Your Honor, excuse me.
It's all crystallizing.
Your Honor.
Excuse me.
She's defaming me now. Me and my wife were separated for a year. She was at the restaurant when my wife came to talk to me to reconcile. Me and Asia are at Joe's Crab Shack in Harlem. My wife came to talk to me. My wife immediately said, Darren, I think she's taking advantage of you because you're a gentleman. You need to watch that relationship. And I said, you know what?
The same way that they
all
get him a phone.
right, everybody stop talking. Here's what we're going to do. The cost of the phone is $749. He paid $100 of it, which you acknowledge. That brings down the cost of the phone to $649. He did pay one bill. Of that, $25 goes towards the phone. So that brings us down to $624 on the cost of the phone. I'm going to order him to pay the $624. I'm going to order him to pay July, which was $125. That's $624 plus the $125. And that is $749. That is what, coincidentally, that is what I am going to order him to pay on the phone that he kept, because that's the cost of the phone. And you kept it. If you had returned it to her, I would say you owe nothing.
Yes, ma'am. I understand.
Okay? That would be fair, because you're right. She precipitously pulled the rug out from under you. You do not get $5,000, but you're not going to get the replacement cost of a phone for your son, and you're not going to get your son's phone bill paid for 3 months either. And the reason why you're not is that you only had to replace your son's phone because of yourself, because you decided to cancel the deal. All right? He didn't breach it, you did. Now, the counterclaim that you have against her for $5,000 because it caused you a lot of pain and suffering, and according to you, she trashed you to somebody who might have helped you, that is way, way out of left field. So she has a right to have a bad opinion of you and tell her ex-boyfriend about it. It's not as though she picked up a phone, found out you were doing business with a stranger, and then funneled a bunch of information in order to affect the stranger. She has a right to speak. So you get 0 on your counterclaim, and she gets $749. That's my judgment. Good luck, folks.
And with that, the defendant's out here in the hallway, or step next to me here, and tell us what's your first reaction to hearing this gavel come down like
My
that?
first reaction is she's a gold digger. She couldn't take advantage of me by paying her phone bill. She had to go to Africa to find a man, and now she's mad because I wouldn't be her friend and let her play on me anymore. She's a liar, and she knows damn well she couldn't get a phone without me paying a deposit and the first bill. Okay. And I didn't breach the contract, and I'm here because I wanted to embarrass her, and I hope I did it because I never breached the contract. And she stopped it because me and my wife reconciled. I never was with that woman when I was married. She's a liar.
All right.
Amen. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, so you step on in here, and you didn't get everything you sued for, but how you feeling about coming out of there like this?
I'm feeling very confident with the judge's decision. I'm not going to go there like he did, because that's the difference between somebody who's educated and someone who's not. At the end of the day, it is what it is. He's responsible for the bill. He has to pay it. He's going to pay it. That's
the
it.
person you were calling your brother a short time ago.
Absolutely, because I trusted him and I looked to him as a big brother to me. But this goes to show you that sometimes family will screw you over. Learn from the lesson.
Let's go to the street.
I got to tell you something. Never buy a phone for a friend where you're on the hook for the plan, because it just never works out. We have had, I mean, in 19 years, we've had, I think, hundreds of cases involving this. It just never works out. If they have bad credit, there's a reason, like the judge says, they have bad credit. And that will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on their way into the courtroom right now.
Parents of tweens, if you're familiar with far-off drop-offs...
Dad, stop, right here.
Or get DMs about what's for dinner, you may be experiencing tween milestones. For your son or daughter, these can start at age 9. HPV vaccination, a type of cancer prevention against certain HPV-related cancers, can start then too.
For most, HPV clears on its own. But for those who don't clear the virus, it can cause certain cancers later in life.
Embrace this phase. Help protect them in the next.
Ask their doctor today about HPV vaccination. Brought to you by Merck.
This episode is brought to you by the Toyota Grand Highlander. From daily routines to life-changing adventures, the Toyota Grand Highlander is spacious, powerful, and ready to take on life's grand challenges. Advanced safety features and innovative technology give you confidence for whatever life throws at you. And it's available in a hybrid Nightshade Special Edition, which includes sophisticated gloss black exterior accents and 20-inch black alloy wheels. Learn more at toyota.com/Grand Highlander. Toyota, let's go places.
This is the plaintiff, Stephen Deshabert. He says he loaned his friend his car, and 2 days later, the guy brings it back all busted up. He broke the heater on it, cracked the gear shift off, and now the thing won't even start. The defendant owes him every penny of the $2,000 he had to put into the car to get it working again. And that's why he's here, suing. This is the defendant, William Mabry. He says he used to be friends with the plaintiff until the guy tried to pin the blame of his broken down car onto him and is trying to get him to pay to fix it. The plaintiff even told him the car had problems when he lent it to him. Even if he had $1 million, he wouldn't give the plaintiff a dime because he's a dirty, lying rat who should be ashamed of himself for suing him today. He's accused of breaking down a friendship.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket, the plaintiff loaned the defendant his car and says 2 days later it was a mess. A cracked gear shift, busted bad bumper, that's for starters. But the defendant says the car was a wreck when he got it. It's the case of stop busting my rear.
Thank you, Douglas. Stephen Deshabert, you are suing your former friend William Mabry for $2,000 in damages that you say you sustained as a result of him damaging your car. Let me hear what he did.
William had a problem with his car, was with the stickers. The stickers that go on the glass, your registration sticker, and all of that. So he didn't want to keep his car on the street. I even had asked the man, why don't you put it in the parking lot? Oh, I ain't got no money for that. So the friend as I am, as with most all my friends, I try to help him. So I did help him. I told him that you could put your car in my parking spot, and then you can hold my car until you get your money up as next month to get your sticker.
Okay, when you say hold my car, meaning he could borrow your car?
Yes.
Okay, and what car was that?
It's a Mark 7 Continental.
What year?
1988. It's classic.
88?
Yes.
Wow.
Beautiful car.
Do you have a picture of it?
Yes.
Can I see it?
Turns right over.
So while we're waiting for that, so you allow him to borrow the car, and what happens?
Okay, after I loaned him the car, and then I explained to him that I have to go to the doctor. So he came back the next day, picked me up, because he took the car that night. Let's just say like
so he comes back the next day, he picks you up, he drives you to the doctor?
Right, let's say
everything's
like Monday
fine.
It was when he took the car.
How long did he have the car?
A day and a half.
Okay, at some point after that day and a half, once he's returned the car to the parking space, or to where? Where did he return the car to?
Back to the parking space. So he bought the car.
So he leaves your car in the spot and he takes his car?
Yes. He said, oh, your the heat is acting funny in your car, so
I'm just taking my car back.
I'm gonna take my car.
So then you go to your car, and what do you find?
The car ain't moving right.
How? Describe what is wrong, because I can't picture it.
It's stuttering.
Stand up, please. Tell me what's going on here.
What's going on is this. What happened was, we went downstairs
to the car. We tried to move out because he was going to drop me off home, but it wouldn't move.
Okay.
So Mr. D. Chavez said, Mr. Mabry, what you going to do? What you did to the car? So he said, you got to handle this, man. So he gave Mr. Mabry back the keys, and the following day, Mr. Mabry brought somebody else over with him, and that evening, well, Mr. Mabry dropped the keys off after he brought this person over to see the car, but when we went downstairs, the gear shift was laying on the side then.
Do you have a picture of that?
He got pictures right there.
Let me see. The gear shift was laying on the side?
On the side, laying, like, you know, it's supposed to be like this in park? It's laying like this on the side.
What happened, Mr. Mabry? What happened?
When we were out together, me and Mr. Ball here, we were out in the car. We were coming down. We stopped in the gas station. We got some gas to put in it. And I told him that the heat went out on the car, and I couldn't pump the brakes. The brakes wouldn't go. So I called. I let him know. That then. So I finally got the car running in the gas station where the heat came back on.
Okay, I really don't care about the heat. What happened to the gear shift of this car? Look how it's bent to the side like that.
This is what happened. I took it out another day. After the car it was a cold day. It was really cold, and we couldn't get it to crank at first. So it finally cranked. So as I pull in the gear shift back to try to put it in drive or neutral or something, the cable snapped.
When was that? When you still were borrowing the car, or after you had returned it to him?
After I returned the car.
And why were you in there that day?
Because he wanted me to go to get someone to see if the car could be fixed.
Because already the night before we knew that it wouldn't change gears?
The transmission froze with a gear stick.
So who is it that bent that thing like that? You?
Okay, we're gonna do it again. Best friend wants to borrow your car. Would you loan it to him?
Yeah.
Why?
I mean, if it's your best friend, you would pretty much assume he's gonna bring it back.
What do you think is gonna happen if he gets in a car accident?
Oh man.
Oh man. Didn't think of that, did you?
Oh, I didn't.
Okay, what do you think?
I would, but man, as long as he got some good insurance and everything, yeah.
Guess what the problem is here? I'm just going to tell you real quick. What if you have a lot more money than him and he gets in an accident and the person says, I don't care about him, I'm going after you?
There's going to be a situation then.
Yeah, there's a situation going inside the courtroom.
Well, I had got it out of gear one time, and I was trying to get it back because I wanted to turn the car around the other way, and it collapsed on me.
Wow, you must have applied some pressure to that thing to get it to bend like that. Weren't you surprised when it bent in your hand? I mean, that thing has lived for how many years? 88,
about 25.
25 years it's been around. And it's withstood the test of, I don't know how many weather incidents, I don't know how many people handling it, Lord knows the action it's seen. And then you just come in, and how is it you bend that thing completely like that?
Well, it has always been done hard to manage since I've been driving the car.
Yeah.
So, you know, it could have been getting old or just up there.
Yeah. And how is the Blue Book value of this car, the amount that you know, you want $1,300 for repair? No, it's $1,600 for repair for the car, and the car's not even, a 92 of this year wouldn't be worth that. So how is it that this car is? How are you going to prove to me that it's worth those kind of repairs on a 25-year-old car?
Because I be putting it in the shows. It's a show car.
Really?
Yes. If you've seen the picture on it, you can see it's a nice
I just want you to prove to me one moment right now that you've been putting it in shows.
Excuse me?
Prove to me you've been putting it in shows.
And you ain't telling me I ain't know I'm supposed to bring that proof today.
That's fine. I mean, if you're telling me it's so mint and amazing and incredible, why do you loan it to him? Your show car. How many show cars you got?
Well, just that one now.
Oh, okay. And then so you lent your show car to him.
No, because that
to
was
bust
the only,
up.
it's
Okay,
the parking spot.
I got you. I got you.
Yeah, I know you.
All
do.
right, I know you know. I know you know. I got you.
Yeah,
okay.
I know.
So here's what's gonna. Do you have any proof of a towing the towing fee?
That's the yellow one.
Okay. You don't get emotional anguish.
I don't get that.
You do get your tow, which is $136. And I'm going to cap your damages on that car at $750 for a sum total judgment in your favor in the amount of $886. Pay the man. That's my judgment.
Let's find out from the defendant right here. What do you think of that decision?
I think it's a lot of.
I don't think it was a good decision, though.
Good decision?
Not
a good decision.
No.
Why not?
No, because hey, I didn't break the car. It was already fabricated. It would have been breaking. You know?
If you didn't break it, somebody else would have broken it pretty soon.
No, it would have felt broke anyway.
Yeah.
After a while.
Well, what about you guys? This is your buddy over there. You guys are all still friends, or you and all, both of them still friends?
Yeah, I guess we're gonna be friends, but hey, I still gotta pay them.
Yeah.
You know?
That's what happens sometimes.
Yeah.
All right, right down there, okay? All right, so step on in here, sir, and step here, right here, and work. What are you thinking about this outcome now? And your buddy there?
I mean, I'm showing proof of how much I had to pay for it. It wasn't really about what year the car was or any of that. She see the bill. It says what it is. You know what I mean? He broke the car. It's not like it's a fake bill or nothing.
All right, so
That's all he had to do, just pay me, that's all.
You still lend your car out to any of your friends who need some help, whatever?
Yeah, I'll be doing, yes, I will. Yes.
He needs a car tomorrow. You got your car?
It ain't fixed.
Oh, it's not fixed yet, so you can't drive it? All right, not tomorrow.
No, because I took the plates off that one.
All right, okay.
I changed the plates.
All right.
All right.
Harvey?
So when you borrow somebody's property, Kurt, it is called, legally, it's called a loan for use, which means you have to use great care, which is such a high level of care that if something gets damaged, it's going to be your fault. And that will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
This is the plaintiff, Marcia Vanderhayden. She says she's known the defendant for a lifetime and can't believe she finds herself here in court with her today. The defendant owes her money for caring for some cats she left at her house. She also owes her for vet bills she was forced to pay because she's an animal lover and needed to do the right thing. Bottom line, she's here suing her good friend for the $1,075.51 she's owed. This is the defendant, Diana. She says the plaintiff was only an acquaintance of hers who took the cats in because she wanted them. She's acting like these cats were hers, which they weren't. They were the plaintiff's. Bottom line, she can't believe the plaintiff's actually coming after her in court. But if that's what she's gonna do, then bring it on. She's accused of letting a fur fly.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff says the defendant owes her for caring for some cats, but the defendant says the plaintiff took the cats in because she wanted them. It's the case of cat got your wallet.
Thank you, Douglas. Marcia Vanderhayden, you are suing your neighbor, Diana. You've asked us not to mention your last name for $1,075.51 that you say she owes you for care and maintenance of cats. Tell me what happened here.
I know Diana for decades, actually. She happened to work in the neighborhood where I live, and we would see each other, and over time we realized that we had a common interest in pets. So anyway, she was feeding a cat. She lives in Astoria, and she was feeding this cat in her backyard.
In Astoria?
Yes.
That's where I was born.
So I had told her that she needed to work with Neighborhood Cats, which is a not-for-profit, to get the cat spayed, which she did not do.
And then one day she contacts you and she tells you that the cat that she's been feeding that's in her yard is pregnant?
Yes.
All right, and what do you say?
It was a little late to get the cat fixed at that point in time. So anyway, the cat gave birth. And she had put a box in her backyard, so that's where the cat and the kittens, the mother and the kittens, were. And she called me, I think it was the next day from when they were born, that there was a possum in the backyard.
There was a possum in the backyard, and you were worried that the possum was going to eat the babies.
Correct.
And you didn't bring them into your house. Why?
I'm allergic to cats.
Okay. For a person who's allergic to cats, you spend an awful lot of time fussing with the cat in the backyard.
Yes. I've had cats come in and out of that backyard, and I feed them.
All right, so you call her because you know she knows a lot about pets?
Because this possum showed up one evening. The kittens were just born like 24 hours ago, 48 hours. I call her up. I said, Marcia, there's a possum in my yard. I have a neighbor who says it's coming to eat the kittens. is that true? She says, Diana, bring them. She said it twice. I said, I'm not calling. I just want to know if it's going to eat the kittens. Is it true? She just bring them to me. Following day, immediately, took them, mother and the 3 kittens, over to Marsha. I said I was eternally grateful. Thank you, because she pulled on my heartstrings, this cat. Cats come in and out, like I said, but this particular cat pulled on my heartstrings because she would rub against me and all that stuff, and I fell in love with her.
Right.
So when I called Marsha.
Forbidden love.
When I called Marsha, I said to her, I would help her out with getting the cats. I'm going to help getting the cats adopted if I can, and I would help feed the cats for 1 year. I feel I made my commitment for that 1 year.
What did you do during that 1 year?
This happened in April.
Did you ever say you would pay 50% of the expenses?
Never did.
All right. Is there anything in writing between the two of you, emails or texts, before, listen to what I'm saying, before the problems happen? So I mean either before you bring the cats over or right after you bring the cats over there. Any emails back and forth that would give me an idea of what the arrangement was between you two?
I have the emails after the kittens were born, not before.
Let me see those. Let me see those. All right, and so according to you, what you offered was to help with the expenses for the first year, but you didn't state a specific amount?
No.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
And according to you, she said what?
That she would pay 50%. She would pay
50%.
half of all costs for 1 year.
For 1 year. All right. So now, what did you do during that 1 year?
During that 1 year, I would pay a visit occasionally every week. I would give her cash, but anyway, then I would bring her cans of cat food. That was not good enough. She eventually said to me to please check the ingredients on the label of the cat food to make sure it was not a grain or a corn, because it was not healthy, basically not healthy for the cats or the kittens.
That the first ingredient wasn't grain
not a corn or
that
some
it should
type of
be
grain.
meat. In other words, that the cat needs to be in a low-carb diet on South Beach. That the cat shouldn't have too many carbs.
9 Lives was not good enough for her.
Okay.
So I said, you know what? I'm going to stop giving her cash and bringing the food. I started giving her checks.
Okay.
And that's what I did, I believe, from July until that end of the year of April of 14.
So how much money did you give her?
In total, about 300 and change.
And how would you decide how much to bring her? Would she tell you, or you
No,
would just...
she wouldn't tell me. She accepted what I gave her. If she had a problem, she could have told me. I would give her $30 here, $20, you know, like that, when I went to visit the cat.
Did she get the kitties neutered and spayed?
A year later.
You did accept monies from her throughout the course of that year, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And how much do you say she paid?
I believe it's about $350.
Okay. So what is it and the year went from when to when, according to you?
I think they were born April 11th of 13.
So April of 2013 to April
March,
of 2014.
Well, it would be March, the end of March.
And then one of the things you're suing for, though, are vet bills after March of 2014. You're suing for vet bills from April of 2014 to June of 2014. Why would she have to pay that if that's after the year? Because the very specific thing you have all said this whole trial and in your complaint was that she had you say 50% of the expenses within a year, in the first year. And she says, help with the expenses. But before I get to which one of those two I believe, you're suing for expenses that happened afterwards. And my question to you is why?
I don't think that was the understanding that it had to be within the specific...
What did you think within the first year meant, other than the obvious? What did you think it meant?
Okay, I'm just going to ask it. Are cat people generally weird?
I think so.
Why? Why is that?
I don't know. Just they seem to be. I don't know.
Why do you think? Are cat people weird?
I think it depends on how many cats they have.
How many constitutes weird?
4 or more.
Okay, I would agree with you, actually, going inside the courtroom.
Well, as far as the food was concerned, what I'm asking for
is half of the $1,800.
Half of the total.
Do you have receipts that total $1,814.01?
Yes, I have all the vet bills. I have all.
No. Receipts that total for food $1,814.01.
Yes, I do.
And your position on that is that if she chooses to give,
premium
farm to table, organic food and doesn't want to feed them Fancy Feast, you did your part handing the 30, 40, and whatever else you did.
I helped.
When she was coming by and giving you $30 here and $40 there and whatever else, did you ever say anything to her? Hey, it costs a lot more than that?
I did not say that. We were friends. I expected her to
Where's
keep
the
an
mother
agreement.
cat?
I have her.
You have her?
Yes.
Okay, how's she doing?
She's doing fine.
And the baby cats?
Well, there were 3. 1 got adopted, and I have 2.
Here's the email you sent her from March 18th. Give her the food I brought. There's nothing wrong with it. And you're giving her instructions on how to feed the mama.
May I see that?
Yeah, this doesn't really comment on the issue which I'm trying to decipher, which is what was the agreement. But let's go over a couple things. First of all, why does she have to pay anything after the year pass? I find that you don't. So number 1, the vet bills happen after the year and she's not legally responsible for it. Number 2, the cost of the food bills. If you're accepting $30 here, $40 here, and what mere mortals pay for cat food, and then it turns out that what you spent on cat food was $2,000, you don't get to impose that on somebody else. If you wish to feed the cats that way, that is entirely your prerogative. If you can afford to do that, that's fabulous. But that's not something that she agreed to. That's something that you imposed on her, which is why she just started giving you cash. And you never once complained about the amounts that she was giving you. So I can't find that she owes you an additional $1,000 unless you can prove to me that she always said, I will pay exactly half of everything you choose to spend. I don't know what you guys agreed to beforehand. I have no idea, but I know that you can't prove it's your way, which is the only way you can get the $1,000. My verdict in this case is for the defendant.
This is a cut and paste job. What you're accepting as evidence is cut and paste. This is dishonest.
Okay, here's the plaintiff leaving the courtroom right here. Come on out here. This is your last chance to put a cap on this case. Anything else you need to say?
I think I had more than sufficient evidence for the judge to have decided in my favor, and she didn't even let me respond. I think it was very dishonest.
All right, well, good luck with the cats. All right, step on out here. What are you afraid of? You kind of looking.
I don't know. You never know.
You never know what.
I don't know. Something will hit me from behind.
Anything going to hit her from behind, Earl? No. What do you think of the outcome here in that?
Judge Milian was fair. I agree. But I presented everything, all proof I had. That's it. No.
Harvey?
Okay, we do this all the time in the show where, we see these cases where people borrow money and, they don't get paid back and whatnot. If you really are loaning something to a friend, nail it down in writing. Even if it's a friend, if you expect repayment, you gotta protect yourself.